Hi, I'm Tracy Matthews. I'm the liaison to the Business Advocacy Committee of the Campbell County Chamber of Commerce. And I'm here with Nathan McLeland. He is running for mayor. So good morning, Nathan.
Good morning, Tracy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I want to give you this opportunity to introduce yourself to the voters of Campbell County.
Well, thank you, Tracy. My name's Nathan McLeland, and I am asking for the citizens' vote for mayor in the upcoming election. I'm a Gillette native. My wife and I have 4 amazing children. We have a 17-year-old daughter that's going to be a senior. We have a 13-year-old boy that's going into 8th grade. We have another 9-year-old boy that's going into 4th grade, and we have a 6-year-old girl that's going into 1st grade. So they keep us busy. They're great, but we have all ages covered at our house, and we're busy, and it's wonderful. So I graduated from Campbell County High School in 1995, and then I went to the University of Wyoming. At the University of Wyoming, I studied political science, and I also ran track and cross country for the university. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in 2000, and then went immediately into law school at the University of Wyoming College of Law. I graduated from law school in 2003. And then my wife and I came back to Gillette, chose to make Gillette our home, a place to raise our family. And I started working when I came back at what was then the firm of Lubnow, Bailey, and Dumbrell as a lawyer, kind of doing general practice type legal work. In 2007, I transitioned over to M&K Oil Company, which is our family oil and gas business. My father and grandfather started that business in 1974. When I went over in 2007, I started doing some legal work there, and I also just kind of learned how that business ran and kind of the intricacies of oil and gas. And then I took over as CEO of that company in 2016 after my father was injured. You know, I enjoy the oil and gas business. I think being in the oil and gas business and being an attorney has given me skills and knowledge that I can use to work for the citizens of Gillette as their mayor. You know, in particular, problem-solving skills, you know, ways to find unique challenges to difficult situations and figure out how to get through challenging times. The oil and gas business can definitely be challenging. As far as public service, I was appointed to the City Council in January of 2019. I was elected to finish that term in November 2020. Since I've been on the council, I've served as council president and briefly as interim mayor. And so you know, lastly, I think my family and I love living in Gillette. We love the opportunities that Gillette provides and look forward to continuing to push for that as Gillette's mayor. So.
Thank you. So, Nathan, do you support Penny Power? And if you do, are you willing to support it as part of your campaign?
You know, I do support Penny Power. I support the 1%. The 1% has done incredible things for our community. You can see it in our streets. You know, it's helped build our infrastructure. It's helped build this community. You know, it helped support the college and get it up and standing and running. So that could be a vibrant community college. You know, it's a tax that the voters have approved overwhelmingly in the last elections. I think the last election it passed by about 61%, and that tax passes because the people see, the residents of Gillette and Campbell County see the benefits in the community. We've done a good job of spending those funds prudently and wisely and investing in projects that the people want to see done. You know, we do the survey, we try and follow the guidance we get from that survey. And so as an elected official, I should say, you know, the responsibility is to use those funds prudently, use those funds in ways that the community supports and approves of, and also to keep some dry powder, so that the 1% is also available to help the community in downtimes. And so, as a candidate, I support it, and I would continue as mayor to use those funds prudently, wisely, and kind of responsibly, and in a way that the citizens of Campbell County would like to see them used.
Thank you. So thinking long term, where would you like to see the city of Gillette in the next 20 years? And what is your plan to accomplish this vision?
That's a great question. And of course, we talk about, and this is what I think too, is we need to find ways to ensure that Gillette has long-term, economic stability. And there's been a lot of great work done, I think, with finding alternative uses for coal, and a lot of people have worked hard on programs like that and continue to work hard on programs like that, and we've made some progress in that area. A couple things I think about as far as a plan to do that is I think it's important that Gillette keeps its can-do attitude. This is a community that has, I think, always come together, looked at a challenge, found and decided we can do this. We can figure out ways to do this. And so we've gotten together, different groups, looked for unique ways to solve challenges, overcome problems, and get projects done. And I think we need to keep that alive in Campbell County. And I think as mayor, that's something I would do, I would strive to do, is to just keep that attitude that's made Gillette the great community it is today. I think another thing that I'd like to do is keep the conversations open with businesses that we have here, and make sure that we're addressing their needs. And some things the city can do is make sure that we're tending to their infrastructure needs. If there's changes in our ordinances or things like that can help them, I think that's important to address. But I think in general, our existing businesses are going to be driving us forward for a long time, and we need to keep the lines of communication open with them, learn from them, dial in on what we as a city can do to help them succeed. Another thing I think is important is and this is something I think about a lot, is how can we use the existing assets we have in this area to work for, or also be an asset for tomorrow's businesses. I think about this with things like our rail system. How can we leverage that to bring new business and industry to Gillette? We have a lot of great, assets and perhaps skills here that I think we can build upon. And I think we can get together. I think we can talk about how these things can be used for future businesses of tomorrow. Get that package together, and then go start talking to companies and businesses and say, this is what we have to offer in Gillette and in Campbell County, and this is a community that can get things done for you. And so I think those are important, and I think that's something I think about a lot, and that's something I definitely would pursue as mayor of Gillette.
Thank you. So what policy changes or investments are necessary to encourage broader employment in our community?
Thank you, Tracy. And some of those I talked about a little bit in the answer to the previous question. Keeping lines of communication open with businesses, exploring opportunities that the current industries and infrastructure we have here in Gillette can benefit new businesses. One thing that we talked a lot about during the recent Vision 2040 visioning sessions, or the visioning conferences, was smart growth. And one thing I mentioned in that was kind of a plug and play economy. And what I mean by that is we need to have an economy and an infrastructure that is ready to go when opportunities present themselves. So if a new business or industry is looking to come to Gillette, we need to be ahead of the curve. We need to have our ordinances in order. We need to have our infrastructure in order. And we need to be ready to help them move quickly. And that's something that I think we could do. We could address from a policy standpoint at the City of Gillette. And that's something, as mayor, I would do. And I also think we need to keep supporting each other in this community. You know, Gillette has always done better when we all work together. The various government agencies work together, and we need to continue to talk to each other and find innovative ways to find solutions to our problems. You know, again, the college is a great example of what Gillette can do when the various, you know, stakeholders and interest holders do when they plan things together. And it's a great example of how we can get things done in Campbell County. I think we need to keep encouraging that type of collaboration.
Thank you. So what do you see as our most pressing needs for infrastructure or capital projects?
Three things come to the top of my mind. Those would be Gurley, the Gurley overpass, our wastewater plant, and probably Box Elder. And, you know, at the moment, Gurley, of course, is aging. It's taking more and more resources to inspect and kind of heal that overpass up and keep it going. We've been talking about it for a while and trying to figure out solutions to that problem for a while as a city council. We've been setting aside money to do that, but that is something we're going to have to address soon. I think as mayor, you know, I would continue the work we've done to go out and find other sources of funding that can help us do that, whether they be federal, state, other local funding, those types of things. But that's a project that we're going to have to address in the future. The wastewater plant is a similar story. That's an aging facility. A lot of the equipment and systems in there have gotten to the point that, you know, we can't find parts. We're trying to manufacture parts to keep it going. So that's a very pressing need. Of course, we've started the work out there. You know, the city was able to get a $20 million loan from the SLIB board to start the first phase of that. But, you know, a project, a need going forward is going to be to continue chasing down those funding sources and keep that project moving ahead. There's some opportunity, I think, with ARPA money that may be set aside particularly for these facilities, but I think we're going to need to keep moving on that, and as mayor, I would keep pressing forward on that as well. And lastly, Box Elder, you know, last year the city rebuilt Lakeway. That was a great project. That road turned out great, but you know, Box Elder is probably another really pressing infrastructure need, a really pressing road need in Gillette. Of course, the city council has already, the city has already done the work on the sewer lines and the water lines there, so now we're ready to go ahead and resurface that, and we'll be doing that very, very shortly, but those are three of the most pressing infrastructure needs that I see.
Thank you. And what city departments have you been to in the last year, and what have you learned about their different services?
So I try and take advantage of any opportunity that's made available to me to get out and see the city departments and see what the employees there are doing. We have a lot of opportunities to go to appreciation luncheons and kind of employee recognition awards, and I love going out and seeing those and meeting with our employees and learning about what they're doing and getting some one-on-one time to talk to them. And so in the last year, I know I've been to the finance department and visited with them a little bit on an employee appreciation day. I've been out to wastewater, got to meet those guys, kind of a similar employee appreciation, just a time to express to them how thankful we are for what they're doing out there. I've been to the police department a few times for some similar type events. You know, they do a lot of great work. you know, they've had some recognition for kind of some things they do above and beyond in the community, which is great to see. Not in the last year, but a couple of times I've done ride-alongs with our police department, and those are really, really great experiences because you get to see the officers, what they do on the job, and then you just get to spend some one-on-one time, you know, talking with them and getting to learn more about what they do. And, you know, just how they do their job and what's all involved. And it might be something as like the information system that they use to do their dispatch and their booking and those kinds of things. So those are really interesting too. In the last year, I've had the opportunity to have more in-depth tours, I guess, of some other departments. I was recently out at the YGen 3 power plant, and as the city owns 23% of that power plant, and this is the second time I've had a chance to tour that. The first time I went, the plant was down for some maintenance, and so that was interesting because I was able to see the turbine out and that getting serviced, and we were able to look inside the boiler and kind of see that while that was out of service. And so that was a perspective we don't always get of that plant. This more recent visit, I was able to see the plant running, and I was able to kind of see the boiler running and how intense that is. And then I was able to see the operator in the control room and all the screens that operator has to look at to monitor what's going on in the plant. So it was great to see those two perspectives and learn about everything that goes into running that plant and making power for our city and for the nation. Recently too, I was able to spend a morning with our solid waste department, and that was interesting. I actually got to operate a garbage truck, and spoiler alert, I'm not good at it. And so, but that was neat to try and see how those guys do that, and it's difficult. It's not as easy as you might think. And then I was able to get on go out on a route with one of our operators, and just see how they operate the trucks in the alleys and how efficiently they're able to run their routes and empty their bins. And then we went out to the landfill, and I was able to see you know, how they unload out there, and it was just a great opportunity. And you know, every time I spend time with our employees and at our city departments, I'm just overwhelmed by how professional they are, the pride they take in their work, and I just really can't say enough about them and what they do.
Thank you. And lastly, Nathan, if there's something that I haven't addressed in these questions that you want to make sure the voters of Campbell County know about you, this is your time.
Well, no, I think those questions were good. I'm glad I had the opportunity to come in and talk about things going on in the city and in our city departments and everything the city does. You know, I think I've got some skills, I've got some knowledge, and I've got some things I can really do to help keep our city moving forward. And I look forward to serving the city as mayor of Gillette, and I humbly ask for your vote in the upcoming election.